Hi guys, it's me. It's my presentation video for editing, so here we go. Sergei Einstein came up with 5 different methods of montage, which is basically methods of shots being cut together. These were metric, rhythmic, tonal, overtonal and intellectual. Rhythmic montage is about cutting based on continuity, creating a visual flow from one edit to the next. It is clear to me that these two scenes that I'm about to show you were both edited based on trying to maintain continuity and to make the scene look as aesthetically pleasing as possible. The pace of editing is one of the key factors of film that can influence the audience and the way they interpret a piece of footage. The clever thing is that both ends of the spectrum of editing pace, fast and slow, can both create tension. A very good example of this is the 2 opening scenes from Quantum of Solace and Gravity. The opening scene to the Bond film is of a car chase through mountain roads. This scene is edited very quickly, creating the feeling of tension as we don't know what's going to happen in the next shot or to the characters. However, comparing this to the opening shot from Gravity, this shot is at least 4 minutes long, and it's only the one shot for the opening. As well as the repetitive edits, the lack of edits can also create tension within a film. Because we only see one shot in the opening of Gravity, we are solely concentrating on everything in that shot, and we can appreciate everything. Because we are not being distracted by the fast editing, we begin to feel tense because in today's film world, this length of edit is very uncommon, so we, as an audience, begin to feel uneasy about the situation and start feeling slightly tense because we are expecting something bad to happen. What I've said about the car chase scene in Quantum of Solace, I can easily compare this to the car chase from Dr. No. Looking at these two scenes, there is a clear difference in the way they are shot and the techniques that used to create possible tension. The pace of the cuts in Quantum of Solace are astonishingly quick, sometimes even less than half a second. Using this technique, it keeps the audience on edge during the chase scene as we don't know what's going to happen next. However, comparing this to Dr. No, the chase scene in this film, it is a lot less jumpy. The editing pace is a lot slower and it shows the action of the scene from less angles, but however it shows them from these angles for a lot longer. To me, this doesn't grip me as much as the Quantum scene because I've grown up watching recent action films which all include quick editing, so watching the Dr. No scene is what I would typically expect from an action film, isn't what I would expect. This clearly shows how the same concept in a film has evolved through time. When it comes to the pace of editing for the Quantum scene, even though the shots are so quick and rapid, because as an audience we have had years of understanding film language, we are able to make sense of what's happening in the scene, even if the shots are under a second. Going on to Gravity now, I compare the opening scene from this film, Gravity, to a scene from the Lumiere brothers called Arrival of a Train at La Ciotat. This is just a video of basically a train arriving at a station and people getting off and others getting on. This just shows that in those days, this edit length was this just shows that in those days, the edit length like this was still being used to entertain audiences, even if it wasn't to create tension. The idea of the Lumiere shot of a train and the idea behind any long take in a film is to convey meaning of truth. Like the train, we are watching people in their day-to-day lives with no camera trickery because it is just one take. A famous quote about film is that every cut is a lie. This is basically saying that every cut in a program or a film is a lie and it didn't actually happen. This is shown in Gravity very, very well because it is almost filmed like a documentary because it for the opening only has one shot as the opening scene. It says to the audience that they're not just watching a Hollywood blockbuster, but quite simply watching people in space. Talking about single shot showing truth, another good example of this is Paranormal Activity. This film is constantly using very long edits and from a fixed camera point. Like the Lumiere train arrival showing the truth about daily lives, these shots show truth as well, as there are no cuts to hide any camera tricks. It is one shot showing everything and anything. Another film practitioner who had an unbelievable influence on the progress of film was Georges Méliès, the father of special effects. He first discovered what was known as the moving picture in 1895. Soon after he began creating short films, he discovered that he could use stop-motion photography to render visual effects to trick the audiences. Because technology that's available nowadays was not available back when he was filming, he had to use this tech to make his films. The technique uses taking a photo of something, then ever so slightly altering the subject to take another picture. This is then repeated over and over again until the action is completed. A perfect example of this stop motion is in the original King Kong, which was released in 1933. Because advanced special effects did not exist then, stop motion was used to make it look like King Kong was moving in the environment. The only drawback of using stop motion in films, however, and for example in King Kong, is that it makes the subject look very, very jumpy because they're not actually performing the movement. They're getting photos taken of them performing the movement. After investigating Méliès and the stop motion, one night I went out personally with my friend Dom, who's at Chelmsford College, does media as well, and we used his Canon 550D and a tripod up in Chelmsford. I set the tripod up with the camera on it and set the camera to have the shutter open for 2 seconds, and to do this again after the 2 seconds was up. So it was 2 seconds, then it would shut, then it would shut, then it would go for 2 seconds again, then it would shut, and so on and so forth. I chose to do this at it was night time, so it was about 5:30, 6 o'clock, so it's just after rush hour. I wanted to do it at night because I've seen other stop motion before at night, and because of the lights of the cars, I thought it would make a great, it would look very good, like the motion trails for the lights. Thank you very much, that's my editing video.